Thanks for coming back for more pie, everyone. So I am finally heading home after seeing like a dozen tornadoes the last couple of weeks. The first notable one was on Monday, May 24th, and I woke up in fog. I was late to the party. I was trying to get down south with everyone, and then this little storm right next to me just started dropping little fingers, and like no one was around, so I went ahead and for the first time reported it to the Goodland, Kansas National Weather Service, and they issued a tornado warning right after that. And so I tracked that storm and another one up north. Another little finger dropped, and then it started looking really messy, and I was thinking about dropping down south to join everyone down there, but that ended up being the storm that would drop the Selden, Kansas tornado that went right through that town. And when it first dropped, I got my drone up in the air, and it threw me off how close I was. And I didn't realize it, but the drone was going like 80 miles an hour towards the thing. And so I was trying to throttle up to get a little higher above the ground, but before I knew it, it lost signal and it crashed into the ground. The same thing happened as before. After it went through Selden, Kansas, I tried coming back the next day to look for it, but all I was able to find was the phone that was strapped to it. The zip ties were still on it, so the legs on the drone itself must have broken completely because the zip ties held just fine. And I also found a rotor and part of the camera as well. So I went ahead and put out an SOS on YouTube and actually had a couple of great guys respond with their own drones to come help me look for it. Chris and Kelton, thank you so much, guys, for helping me look for it. And they looked high and low, but we just could not find it anywhere. So fortunately, though, I met a good guy there in Selden. His family owns some land out there, so they're going to try to keep an eye out for it. And thanks, Tim. I really appreciate it. But me meeting up with Chris and Kelton wasn't fruitless because that day it put us in an amazing position to get a couple of tornadoes up on the Nebraska-Kansas border. And so we saw a nice long-lived tornado from a distance, and then another one came down really briefly, and then we all ended up getting like stuck in the mud together. We had a grand old ball. And not only have the tornadoes been good, but the structure's been great too. I think I have enough time lapses that I can make my own time lapse film now. I've been working really hard at getting raw photo time lapses so I can really pull out the color and contrast in them. And then on Saturday the 29th, the HRRR was showing that a supercell was going to pop up in southeastern Colorado, and it finally got it right. The HRRR has been doing an awful job lately, and so it just looked really messy, like a really high base storm, but eventually it developed a nice mesocyclone, and it dropped a ton of rain, and then this cone just kind of just emerged from the rain. And like by the time I saw it, like I was just about ready to start a time lapse, and I was like, no, it's rain wrapped. I'm gonna just start clicking away on the time lapse. So I got a cool time lapse of it. I mean, it got shrouded in rain. And then the next day, basically the same thing happened. Another supercell appeared in southeastern Colorado, moved down into the corner of New Mexico and the Oklahoma Panhandle, and it dropped more tornadoes. And I had to be back into Colorado Springs to work early Sunday morning, so I booked it to try to get back down there. And so I saw a couple of what I believe were cold air funnels, so that was kind of fun. And so I wasn't completely empty-handed from that. And then I finished up the week by trying to chase a supercell right on the Mexico border, but by the time I caught up to it, it was basically crossing the border. So I did catch a little bit of a wall cloud from that. So out of the last 2.5 weeks, I've only spent one night in my own bed, and because this is actually pretty comfortable back here, I'm so glad that I set up this whole bed back here. And I am at the breaking point of how much, like, I've got a bunch of SD cards, and I've been trying to store everything as much as I can on extra hard drives. I have a 120 gig SSD that didn't last very long, and I also have a 1 terabyte internal hard drive that I got from one of my brother's laptops, and I am praying that this thing doesn't fail on me, because the Selden, Kansas day, I have it also on my laptop as well, so at least that's backed up into 2 locations. But I cannot wait to get this on my NAS and also on a backup drive, because there's a lot of valuable footage here. I think what I've decided is I'm just gonna go back to 2019 and start and get all of my videos from them posted, then move on to 2020, and then move on to 2021, and just post them all in order for you guys so that they would be nice and sequential for you. And also, I want to give a shout out to Mr. Tilly. You guys may know of him if you follow my Minecraft channel, and he's agreed to help me edit some of these things. So, and hopefully eventually I'll be able to compensate him for the videos, but man, I barely make enough from YouTube to storm chase as it is. So, but hopefully with his help, I'll be able to turn that around, and maybe one day I'll be able to completely storm chase and do YouTube full time. But we'll see. Fingers crossed at that point. As for getting my drone into a tornado, I mean, it's looking like technically I did, but I'm not gonna give up on getting that shot. I just bought another Phantom 3 from someone in Kansas City on Marketplace, and so I've got the phone, so at least I don't have to replace that. And so I just need to buy another GoPro to strap to the front of it. And this time, I think I'm gonna put one of those tile trackers or one of the air tags on it as well, so that way I can get proximity if I can get close to it. I thought 2 ways of tracking it would be enough, but since the police wouldn't let me back into Selden, I wasn't able to reconnect it with the controller, assuming that it was even still powered on. So, but we'll see. I mean, the storm chasing season's not over yet, but there's always next year if not. Alright, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this little update video. It's time to start editing again, and hopefully I can start pumping those videos out again to you soon. So, thanks for watching, guys. See ya!